If you are a part of the gacha game world and you haven't heard of Wuthering Waves in the past few months, honestly, where have you been? And if you have, but you don't know much about the game, then this video is tailor-made for you. After a lot of information gathering, I compiled everything we know about Wuthering Waves so far. Only official information from the developers themselves and from players' experience on TBT1 will be discussed here. This video will serve you well to catch up on the game before the upcoming closed beta 2 and on the release of the game later in this year. In this video, we will cover every basic information you need to know, from open world features to combat system particularities. So, without further ado, let's start. Wuthering Waves is an upcoming open world action RPG combat-focused gacha game, developed by Kuro Games. The game already had its first closed beta last year, and at this very moment has registrations open for its second closed beta. The final release is expected to happen later this year, having its maximum release date being October 2024 as per Chinese authorization law. The reason why the game has become so popular even before its release is due to the combination of many things, the most important ones being the expectation of a second game from Kuro Games, who already has a solid, unique game called Punishing Ray Raven. The fact that it is implementing things that the gacha game community has been wanting for years, and of course, the never-ending online beef and comparison with other consolidated games in the market. The game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. It's hard to speak about story because, as we heard recently in the latest official update about the game, they rewrote 90% of the story, including all the cinematics and most of the voiceovers. It isn't clear how that affects what we have seen on Closed Beta 1, but the core of the story should be the same. As far as we know now, the phenomenon known as lament caused all matter and particles to be altered and become full of sound waves. Frequency is now attached to everything, so parts of the natural world have their own frequencies, and so do people. This phenomenon caused a new particle to be created, called wutheron. The wutheron can create new matter and new reactions. The characters in this game, also known as Resonators, had significant exposure to this particle, which caused the genetic information to evolve. This is what gives them power, which is called special occurrences, or forte, in the game. In short, this is the base of the game story. I believe this will stay untouched by the recent edits, but only time will tell. As for how this story goes on, we will have to wait for Closed Beta 2 to find out. The combat system in Wuthering Waves is definitely its strongest point, and what makes it stand out compared to other games in the genre. Kuro Games, the company behind Wuthering Waves, has another game called Punishing Ray Raven. PGR is known by its very distinctive and fast-paced combat style. And although we can see how PGR influenced Wuthering Waves, it is not exactly the same. Wuthering Waves has a very unique and I would say revolutionary combat style. It is very dynamic and visually satisfying. To go in depth in the details of the combat will make a whole other video, but let's see briefly how Kuro Games made Wuthering Waves stand out with its impressive mechanics and particularities. Every character has a normal, heavy, plunge, and evasion attack, as well as the ability to dodge and parry enemies' attacks. And of course, a normal skill called Resonance Skill and an ultimate called Resonance Liberation. The combat focuses heavily in the ability to evade and parry enemies' attacks. In fact, that's how you decrease enemies' defense bar, by evading with precision and then attacking. And oh, using an evasion attack will also refund your stamina instead of consuming it. This already makes the game very dynamic, because essentially you have to pay attention to the enemy's moves all the time, and for harder content, quite literally learn the enemy's moves. This is all very cool, but there's actually more, much more. A party is composed by 3 characters. You can switch to another character at any time, but you might want to choose a precise moment to activate the intro and outro skills, but more on that later. What is interesting in the party format in this game and how the characters and swapping characters works is that the concept of the selfish DPS doesn't apply much here. You need to be with every character in the field for some time, and for that reason, all of them are capable of doing damage and being useful at all times. There are, as of now, 17 Resonators available in the game. Some of them were already revealed by the official YouTube account, especially on Shorts, so go check that out. And others are known by other means like the CBT or latest teasers. The characters come in two rarities, 4-star and 5-star. But quite honestly, you would have a hard time telling which character is a 5-star or not solely by looks. And thankfully, many CBT1 players said that the rarity doesn't change as much on the game difficulty as well. Let's see all the characters very quickly. Please don't laugh at my pronunciation. Rover, Yang Yang, Shisha, Baizi, Auto, Dungeon, Mortifi, Sanhua, Taochi, Wangwu, Yingling, Weiwan, Jian, Anka, Lingyang, Jianqing, and Kakarot. One very interesting thing to note is that every resonator has a tacit mark, which is a mark of their unique frequency and proof of their mutation. Coming back into the combat a little bit, every character has a resonance circuit, which is this little bar above the HP bar. The utility of this bar would change from character to character, but you can expect them to provide buffs, enhance normal attacks, and such. This is a very cool way to make every character unique and fresh. A character copy is called the resonance chain, and obviously, the more you have, the stronger your character becomes. And as we are used to in gacha games, you can upgrade your character's normal attacks, resonance skill and liberation, resonance circuits, and more using the Forte screen. We start the game with the main character, also called Rover. As per the new standard in the gacha world, you can choose between a male and a female character in the beginning of the game. I'd rather not speak on the character's impact on the story as it can be drastically changed very soon, but we'll surely see big things from them. The Rovers are expected to be great characters and pretty useful in combat, and are allegedly not overshadowed by other characters. This is a topic that have seen many changes since we first heard of the game, which makes all that I'm gonna say ahead susceptible to change. In the recent devs update, they teased new skills for the characters called intro and outro skills. But what I'm gonna present now is what we know from CBT1 combined with what we have seen in the recent updates. We need to talk about the elements and the intro and outro skills together because they are basically one in each other. There are a total of 6 elements in Wuthering Waves: fire, wind, ice, electric, dark, and light. Or as they call it, fusion, arrow, glacial, conducto, havoc, and spectra. Each character has one element. The elements are combined between each other via the intro and outro skills to cause various reactions in combat. The mix and matching of these elements in combat are more fun and complex than it sounds. This is how the system works. You see this gauge by the HP bar? This is called a concerto energy gauge. You feel it by using your attacks. Using evading attacks, which are basically attacking right after a successful evade, makes it feel faster. When it's full, you're gonna see this wavy animation on your other characters coming up. This indicates that you can now use the intro skill for one of the other 2 characters in your team. These skills are unique to each character. At this point, the element of your current character is already applied to the enemy. When you switch to another character of your choice, not only that character will instantly use his intro skill as he enters the field, but he will also apply his element to the enemy, causing one of the many reactions available. The reactions are so many that I'm not gonna cover here on this video, or it will be solely about combat. But let's just see 2 examples. If you combine the elements of arrow and fusion, the current character on the field will gain a 40% buff of normal and heavy attacks for 12 seconds. Meanwhile, if you combine spectra with one of the 4 main elements, you will create a stagnant field that will stop time for a short period and recover 10% of the concerto energy for the current resonator. Pretty cool, huh? I'm gonna cover all these reactions in another video, promise. But until then, you can pause the video to check all the reactions if you want. As you might have puzzled together by now, creating different teams with different elemental combinations, as well as different intro and outro skills, and choosing to which character to swap to will be guaranteed fun, especially for min-maxers and theory crafters. There are 5 types of weapons in Wuthering Waves: Sword, Claymore, Gauntlet, Pistols, and Auralator, which is the magical type one. Even though there's only these 5 types, it looks like the characters are not really locked behind one aesthetic and combat style. For example, Jian is a Claymore user but he uses a polearm, and Yinling is an Auralator user but she attacks with her puppet. The open world in Wuthering Waves seems really spacious and aesthetic pleasing, while the exploration is very dynamic. While walking around in the world, you will find puzzles, challenges, and chests, which will all give you material for ascension as well as gacha currency. The exploration here is like the combat, very fast-paced. You will be able to run, swim, use your grappling hook while mid-air, and even parkour, making it really easy and fast to get from place to place. The Echo System is a monster hunter, Pokemon-like style. Basically, there's a possibility you will drop a monster's soul after you defeat it, enabling you to capture it in your Resonance Terminal, which is this device right here. The interesting part is that this becomes now an item for you to equip in your characters, which will not only give you attributes, but also the ability to summon them or even become them to aid you in battle. The more copies you get, the stronger they are. And get this system is not stamina locked. You can literally farm this for hours in the open world, but there is also the possibility to farm them with stamina, which will give you copies of the echoes you already have. Oh, and another cool thing here is that the echo can help you fill your concerto energy gauge. There are also rare types of echoes. You can differentiate them by the color they shine. They said that you will be able to show this off to your friends in co-op. And since we mentioned co-op, let's talk about that now. So yes, you will be able to play with your friends, and co-op in this game is looking very promising. Apparently, both you and your friends will get rewards when you're farming for items in the open world, getting loads from normal monsters, and even from bosses. Battling bosses with your friends looked pretty fun in CBT1, and this was before they announced new higher difficulty bosses that will have a drop rate boost for rare echoes. And yes, you will be able to farm echoes with your friends in each other's world for hours and hours together. Another thing that can be speculated by this footage from the recent update is that even the endgame dungeon type of mode will be available to play in co-op. The gacha in Wuthering Waves is called modulation. It looks pretty standard for the current gacha game market as of CBT1. The base rate for a 5-star character is 0.8%. We will have a 50-50 percentage and a hard pity at 90. If you don't get the featured character of the banner, you'll be guaranteed to get it in the next 90 pulls. So basically 180 pulls for a guaranteed character. Every 10 pulls will guarantee you a 4-star character or weapon. There's also a small chance to get reverberating wavebands, which is the currency item you use to upgrade your character in the Resonance chain, which is the dub system of Wuthering Waves. The more copies you get, the stronger your characters are. It's still unclear how the weapon banner will work, but everyone is hoping for good news on that. The gacha currency is called Modulation Key Code. You can get it by exploring the world, in chests, helping people in the towns that will give it to you in return, and of course, with real money. The prices of the gacha currency are also unclear at this stage. The gear system is pretty interesting. Remember we talked about the Echo System? That will be our gear. We will equip the echoes we get as our equipment. You can equip up to 5 echoes. Each echo comes with a tonic and a consonant attributes. The tonic consists of an active skill and a powerful main passive buff. The consonant consists of only passive buffs. The first slot here is only for the tonic, so this is where you equip the most important echo, which will determine your active skill and your main stat. This slot will activate only the tonic attribute of the particular echo equipment. The other 4 slots are for consonant echo equipments. The echoes equipped here will only activate their consonant attributes. Upgrading the echoes will increase the amount of affixes they give. There are such things as echo equipment sets, which give more buffs for your particular element, for example, like this one. There's also the resonance terminal, which is the device where all these echoes are being stored. By capturing more echoes and upgrading the ones we have, we can upgrade the terminal. By upgrading the terminal, you will have a higher chance to obtain high-class echoes, and you will also enhance your active echo skill. Big shout out to Stepperule who explained this for us in his channel. The boss fights seem to be the most captivating combat experience in Wuthering Waves. Each boss has a particular mechanic that makes the fight really engaging. Some even parry your attacks. Being able to do that with your friends in co-op is even better. There are 2 endgame modes as of CBT1, Progressing Base and 0-Point Research Station, both of them being combat-based. You'll be challenged to defeat powerful enemies with the help of stage buffs, and get some rewards in return, like the gacha currency modulation keycode. 0-Point Research Station seems to be the hottest one because you cannot repeat characters in the stages, so a variety of party configurations and leveled characters will be necessary. This is the one where people are speculating to have a co-op mode based on this moment of the devs update video, where you can see 3 players fighting a boss. Players are also expecting new endgame modes for CBT2. Just a few things that I like to mention because I think they're important. There will be daily quests like the standard gacha game experience, and that will be your main coming way to get gacha currency. There are such things as word level. You can buy copies of some 4-star characters in the shop. The stamina cap is 240 with a 6-minute refresh rate. And for last, I saved one of my favorite things, the ability to make air combos. I will leave you guys watching this amazing combat by Hudaniki to finalize the video. I hope this helped you get an idea of what to expect from Wuthering Waves. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing because there's so much more Wuthering Waves content coming your way. See ya!